35, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game.
From the outside now, it's Page off balance. Puts it
And this one is hammered to left field. Did he do it? Yes, sir. Walk-off home run.
Alrighty, welcome back. Episode 3 of Arbitrage Arena. My name is Parker. I have Gavin to my left, and we have a new superstar, Nick, who's busted onto the scene. He's been pumping out a lot of sales. He had a crazy ungate situation, so we're going to break all that down. So, Nick, give us a little background, introduce yourself, and let us know who you are.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. My name's Nick. I'm 23 years old. Just finished up my first year of my master's program at the University of Akron. Actually have one more year left, but I decided to hang it up, just focus on new things and focus on actually making money because, as you guys know, like being a college athlete, you don't really have time to work and have a job. So I was very broke, but it's time to turn that around now. Transitioning from that to Amazon now, like I was always looking for something that was kind of unorthodox in the sense of it wasn't the typical 9 to 5. It wasn't, the typical, like you finish college, go get a job, work for 40 years. So I think that kind of is where Amazon came into my life. I know that Twitter's always been big for me, so that's how I found Parker. I actually don't even really remember exactly what tweet it was, but I know that you tweeted out something, and I had seen Amazon FBA before, and I remember like a few years ago, actually way back in December of 21, some like Amazon guru like hit me up, was in my emails all the time, trying to get me to do this, and I had no clue what it was, so I just kind of ignored it. But then with you like being there, and obviously you being in a similar position that I was, like being a college athlete, working a 9 to 5 at one point, I feel like that was something that I could actually trust, even though I hadn't like really met you. It was just the fact that you had shared very similar life experiences as I did. Like you went to go to, like so did I. And I feel like when you explained it all out to me and, sent me like the free document, like that was more of a, okay, like this guy's really just trying to explain it to me, not trying to sell me something. Cause that's what like a lot of people do, right? Like you hit them up and it's always go to, I'm going to try and sell this guy something. And with you, it was just like, yeah, here it is. Like if you, want to learn more, here's the, course link that I'm going to do, but really there's no pressure to do it. And I took that as like, okay, like this guy actually means well. It's not just trying to sell me something.
I was rushing to the hospital at the time. It was like one of my last couple of weeks. I was literally heading into surgery, and you were on the phone with me, and I was like, all right, I got to tell him as fast as I can because I got to get in here. But yeah, I was running late. It's kind of cool though.
And you can tell who's like really about it. Like there's guys that they'll read, the 5 pages and then not take the step to actually jump into it. Like we could tell that you were really about it and wanted to get this thing going. Another thing too is like a lot of people, they're scared to take the risk of like investing $150 to even start the business. And if you can't do that, then this business is not built for you. So like, how's everything going? Like, what are your sales looking like?
Yeah. So to start, I got extremely lucky to start. I kind of came across like 2 products that were given to me for free, and basically nobody really wanted them. Like one was like a foam roller, and I was thinking in my head, like as I'm starting Amazon, like shoot, I could probably sell this, not really knowing like how well I was gonna sell. And basically like I got my teammates just giving me stuff. Basically had like, I don't know, 12 to 15 items each, and they sold through within like 3 or 4 days. I remember I was like calling Parker, and I was like, dude, I literally just listed this like 2 minutes ago and sold.
And that's the power of like Amazon. People don't realize that everything's on Amazon, and you don't know what's going to sell well until you actually are on the platform and you're selling it. And that's crazy for you. That's like your first Amazon experience. Like, wow, welcome to Amazon.
Yeah, like that was like the first like day. Like I listed that, and both were ungated too, so it was like very easy, and it was just like that.
When you joined in, I don't really know, like, because obviously we don't know each other. So I feel like I kind of underestimated like how smart you actually are. Because
I did too.
Not all athletes, like there's not a lot of like ton of really smart guys that play like D1 sports. Obviously there's some here and there, but I feel like I underestimated you. And so like when you were asking me a lot of these questions, I think I was giving you, and I still do give you like a little bit dumbed down answers that like, normally people ask me. And it's taken like a couple of weeks to kind of be like, all right, he knows actually what's going on here. Let's give him the like upper level answer rather than just kind of like the borderline, like this is how it goes. All right, keep it moving.
Yeah. And for Amazon too, you don't necessarily have to be smart. It's how much are you willing to put in to make this work? How much are you willing to learn to progress the next month after month in stacking your sales? It's not necessarily how smart you are, because anyone legitimately can do this business. It's just, are you willing to put the work in? Are you willing to put yourself out there? Are you willing to build a community around yourself to set yourself up to succeed?
So looking back, Nick, if you had any advice for someone who's the first couple of days on Amazon, trying to get some big brands ungated, but like they feel like it's a really daunting task, what would you say?
Well, to avoid like the total cliche answer of like don't ever give up, I'd probably say take advantage of the opportunity that you have like right in front of you. And what I mean by that is, for instance, Nike got gated like a week after I got approved to sell on Amazon, meaning like I got my account and I went right to it. And if I had waited like any longer, I would not have been in the situation I am today, meaning like I wouldn't have gotten Nike ungated. And I think several people have that same mindset of, oh shoot, like I can just do it tomorrow, or I can just do it the next day. Like you really don't know like what's going to happen, because there's so many external factors that are playing against you that are unbeknownst to you in the grand scheme of things. So like if I hadn't have got on Nike right away, and like other brands too, like it wouldn't be an option. It physically would have been impossible. But like, my best advice would be, if you have an opportunity to do something, do it right then and there, because like tomorrow isn't promised, the next day isn't promised. You might as well do it while you can, because you really don't know how long that's going to last. And then I guess the next thing would be basically like work as hard as you possibly can, because once again, you have a certain amount of time to live here, like on this earth. Tomorrow isn't going to be necessarily a guarantee of whether or not you are here or not, and you might as well take every opportunity that you can.
Yeah. Do you regret joining in here? Because at the last moment, you were like, I think I can just learn this on my own. What would be your take on that looking back? And you can be completely honest.
So, no, I'm glad you said that, actually, because I've always been a guy, and this has maybe hurt me in the past. I'm not really sure. Like, I guess we don't really know, but like I just like from my dad, you can learn anything on your own. Like you have the capability of doing anything on your own. Don't ever pay somebody to do something that you could do on your own. And that was kind of the mindset I had, because I was thinking like, okay, like I can understand a keep a chart, I can read SellerAmp. It's just gonna take some time to figure it out. I don't necessarily need, to pay somebody to help me figure it out. And I remember that was kind of the thought process I had all along. And when we first started, when it came time to actually starting it, I texted Parker and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be doing this, because I had that thought in my mind of all right, I could just do this on my own. And I still to this day believe I could have. To me, it's not that hard. I've always picked things up rather easily. But with that being said, the things that you do get that you can't ever pick up on your own. So the network, the community, being able to bounce leads off other people, I wouldn't have had any of that. And still wouldn't. Some of the people that I've met now, like Rich, Rich lives in Cleveland. I guess he's in Boston now. But, Rich lives 45 minutes away from me, and I would have never known that if I didn't get in. So I've actually, Rich and I talk every day. I got to text him Rich right now, actually. We talk all the time about Amazon, about other things outside of Amazon. Obviously, I text you guys here and there, whenever I need. Hassan, Gavin, all the other guys too. I text those guys, and that was not going to be possible if I didn't join in. So looking back, I'm absolutely grateful that I joined and did it. One, just to say that when you jump into a new space, going about it alone is extremely difficult. Obviously, it's been done and it can be done again. But going about it with other people that are on a similar path as you is very, very, it's way more easier, and it's a lot more fun too. When you're up at 11 o'clock at night by yourself, that sucks.
That's the biggest thing that I think is it makes this so much enjoyable, and the fact that it is enjoyable, you're able to continue on through the struggles, because there's some brutal parts where it's man, Amazon just pulls something even this morning with your bank or whatever, and then you don't have anyone to bounce that off of, so you just go crazy. You find yourself in the Amazon forums, you don't know who to talk to about it. And also I feel like you wouldn't have even attempted to grow your social media if you weren't within this group. I feel like it's just not something that really would have registered.
Yeah, you're right on that.
So where are we at now? We gotta hear the numbers.
Okay, so are we talking just this month?
We'll just say in total. So when did you start?
So technically, I think my first sale was April 21st of this year, and then obviously I went cold for a while. Couldn't really have any sales. There was no one gates, blah blah. But then picked back up again right around May 20th or so was right when I started doing RA, and then that's when I got the ungates. So I guess if we want to go back to that point of when we got the ungates and started doing RA, I'm at 15,000, I think.
Oh my god!
And your margins are very good because you're RA.
Yeah, so
You're
I,
a good
I,
margin.
I keep track of all that. I have a spreadsheet. Like most of my margins are like 30-35%.
Good God. So 15K, probably like a little over a month in, 35% margin. And what are like the biggest tips? Because I know a lot of people struggle with RA. Like you have to go to the store and do all this. What would be your biggest tips to like a beginner doing RA?
Be good at improvising, like making up stories to tell people. Because like some people don't like resellers, and they view it as either like, I don't know, a threat to their local store, or the cashiers don't like it because it views they hurt business, or like it looks like it hurts their business even though it doesn't. Like they're making more sales. But I guess like I've always been really good at improv. So basically like, when I go to the store and like I load up my car, like one, I don't care about like what people think. Like I think it's funny, honestly, like because people are like, like what the hell, and I just laugh. Like they clearly don't know what I'm doing, and the fact that they're caring too much about what I'm loading up in my car tells me that they're probably not happy with their own life situation. So I mean, going to the checkout, then they're like, oh, like 82, whatever, like you must do this. I'm like, oh yeah, like run a basketball camp or like having a baseball camp. Like basically like I'll tell them like whatever they want to hear. Maybe that's frowned upon. I don't think it is. Like, I mean, you're buying stuff legally from a store, so it's not necessarily anything that I would be like ashamed of, particularly when like I'm listing stuff in the store and like stuff is selling like before I even get out of the store.
Crazy.
So I guess like one, like not caring what other people think, it's quite hilarious that people do care about that, because it's like you're shopping, like let's calm down. But then two, like just being able to source and find products. I'm kind of getting into like, I don't want to say like cook groups, but like Discord groups. Like of some people, there's quite a lot of opportunities out there that you wouldn't even realize. Like several companies have is where you can get stuff absolutely for free. Like, so I guess like being aware of like your surroundings, and understanding like really what's out there, kind of branch out as far as you possibly can, because you never really know like what opportunities somebody might give to you, both in this sector and then in life in general. Like you might meet somebody that you wouldn't really do business with in Amazon, but 10 years down the line, he's the CEO of some startup company that wants to, partner with you for something because of a conversation you guys had 10 years ago at a Walmart.
Exactly. And that never would have happened if you didn't initiate that conversation and reached out to them.
Yeah. Like it's funny you said, I was walking in a store one time and some guy stopped me and he's like, dang, you look pretty fit. And I was like, kind of weird statement, but all right. Like, it's like, yeah, thanks. And he's like, what do you do to work out? And I was like, this is such an open-ended question. Like, what are you getting at here? And basically I like gave him the very short version of it. And then he told me that basically he works for a supplement company that's looking for people to pretty much sponsor their product. And like, I got set up with that, and it's like a short revenue stream. But like that would have never happened if I would have never been in there. And just a random occurrence of, two people coming across paths that share a similar interest and have a need for each other.
Right.
And that's another thing is like, say you did build that social media up, think about how much different that conversation probably would have been. Like if you had tens of thousands of followers, So that's just something that in the future, you see those opportunities already. You're getting out in the community, you're putting in work, and these things just end up falling in your lap. It's just kind of crazy how it works.
It's the universe. It's crazy.
100%.
What are the goals for, obviously we're 12 days in. What would you say for the remainder? I guess we'll say like the last 2 months and a half, would you say for your goals?
Okay, so I think at the start of it, and I know that Gavin called me one day, like he actually kind of pissed me off because this is funny. He told me like, I want you to hit 10,000 this month, and I was like, this month I'm gonna hit that in a week, dude. Like, and I think I already have, or it's not that quite, but it's like 10 and a half or 8.5. I think for the whole session, like June, July, August, I think I said I want to do 160,000, and the only limiting factor is really going to be capital. I don't know. I have X amount. It's well over $10,000 in Amazon reserve right now. So I'm hoping that gets sent out soon, and then I can just clear up a lot of my cards, because a lot of it's actually like debt that I incurred from expenses prior to like doing this. So I'm kind of trying to clear all that with like this stuff. So what I'm trying to do is open up as much 0% interest APR cards. And I had a good credit amount built up already because I had started this when I was like 17. So I'd had like a good credit limit built, but now I'm trying to clear all the ones that have interest on them and stock up on all the ones that don't have interest, and then basically clear that all eventually by the end of August. So I guess like the next 2.5 months, like 100,000 plus, definitely. Hopefully August I do that in just that month alone. But it's really going to come down to how much capital I readily have available and whether or not I can get daily payouts or not. Like I was looking at probably around 40K in debt, and like I'm gonna clear that easily probably by the end of the year, which is unheard of because most people go 20, 25 years without clearing their student loans. Like I know, adults of my friends that are still paying it off, and it's like, dude, you're 52 years old now. Like you have a wife.
That's crazy. So 40K, you think you're going to be able to pay it off? I know if I would have had that, I would have been able to pay it off my first year, 100%. Yeah. So I honestly think you could pay that off on the pace you're on, because obviously it depends if you can keep that margin up, but there's no reason you can't clear that by the end of the year for sure.
Like that's one thing I was going to talk about too, was I began transitioning from RA to OA. Like it's just too much time that it takes. Like it's fun. It's a lot more fun, obviously, because you're actually going out to a physical store, and like when you find a product, you're like, oh crap, let's clear the entire shelf. But in terms of like the amount of time and energy and effort it takes compared to just like going on your computer, finding something and clicking a button, like, and then having it delivered to your house, that is going to probably be like the future, and then eventually wholesale. But right now it's RA going into OA. Like,
yeah, RA is great for a beginner. You can get some quick money. I mean, a lot of that stuff, you're turning over your money in like 14 days because, I mean, they're delaying your payouts because you're buying more shipping. But around like 14 to 21 days, you're getting that back on your money, 30% margin. There's people that wait like 4 years in the stock market for that. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I'm super excited. I think you're crushing it. I think you'll be one of the next big names, honestly, in the community if you keep posting, grinding. I'm definitely excited to see where you go in the rest of this competition.